Back to the show every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are doing West Coast Wednesdays. That's right. Please give yourself a warm applause every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are doing mixing and mastering sound design on Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools. Today, I'm going to be getting into Ableton, working on a house beat that we started with Damien Soul, a previous guest. And we're going to be kind of finishing this off in the coming time here. So what I have here is our track that we started is kind of starting from this first position in arrangement view. But what I did is I actually recorded in just a sample track of a house track that we liked. Let me just go ahead and demonstrate or give a name. Mariana B.O. is her name on Spotify, and the track is Antonio. So if you guys ever want to hear that. And what I did here was I just got into labeling where the transitions are. And I basically had this stereo recorded track right here. Let's call this a sample track. And then this is the order up here. I call it the order. And I just renamed each part and recolored it. So essentially what we're going to do is try and emulate some of the things in this house track, because certain styles of music have certain things happening, such as a long buildup, right? And that long buildup actually happens 2 times. I even found out that from the beginning, I'll make a marker here, the beginning and the end. You can even kind of see how many measures there are, right? It's like 130, measure 131 through measure 229. So it's about 98 measures is the whole thing. That's about a 3-minute song, I think. But I can also just kind of generally see the symmetry of the song. Let's go ahead and put a loop bracket on, Command L. And you can notice that this whole section pretty much repeats, and then there's this ending drop, right? So essentially, they made a song half the length, right? 1.5-minute song, and then they added in right here an extra sax part build up and a few little other tiddly bit doinks in between it all. Okay, so when it starts off, it says acoustic guitar, and Vokes starting off there. The big hit. All right. So what I want to do, just because we have this order over here that I don't really want to mess up, I'm just going to go ahead and create a whole new area. And we can always cut this into a new spot eventually. But let's go ahead and bring this out. And let's start right at 300. So that, there we go. So I'll mark this as start. And zooming back out. All right. It's kind of far out there, but that's okay. So how does our track start? Let's go ahead and just see that. Right? Adding some claps around. Cool little transitions there. And I'm seeing our CPU is jumping pretty high here. Let's go ahead and see where we're at. We're at 128 samples. Let's go ahead, buffer latency size. Let's go to 1024. This will allow us to have all of our plugins and play back. If you guys don't know about your latency buffer size, it's really good to understand what this means. We're essentially cutting it into smaller little bits and not worrying about latency. If I was to sing along, it would actually have a drag time. But I'm not doing anything like that. I'm doing just mix down. So mix down, we can easily just put a high buffer size. And let's go ahead and duplicate this, Command D. This is that violin part. And I think the ending actually sounded better over here. Da, da, da. There. All right. So obviously it's going to be a different song entirely than what we started with because it's different melody, different kind of feel. But like we said, we have these kind of sections. Let's go ahead and just use our loop bracket for our intro and just see how long this little intro plus drum break is. So half of this length. So let's go ahead and bring it right over here. All right. So this is our intro. Drum beat comes in. Now let's see if our buildup is about the same length. You see that bracket, and look at that. Totally symmetrical. Okay, so that bracket, let's go ahead and put this as putting markers in here so we know what's happening in these same sections. As a matter of fact, instead of us putting markers in, we can go ahead and take this form, this is why we actually did this, and bring it right over this track. So we can kind of compare our track to this demo house track and how the movement happens. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this here. Bonk. So now we have, look at that, the ending. So a little bit different. We have our ending that's a little bit longer. Instead of 3 minutes, we're about 3:20. And let's go ahead and try this out. So notice how right away we can see where the buildup is here to here, and then there's a beat drop. Notice how we have ours huge already. So I think that we need more variation. Cool, let's go ahead, and we're not going to deal with that just at the moment. We'll zero out the violin because we're working on the beat mostly. And I'm just hearing, yeah, the beat drop. We don't really have that until maybe here. So I want to actually take some of these risers that we've got right here and copy them over from arrangement view. So I just did tab over to arrangement view, highlighted them, and then pressed command copy, tab back over, And I'm just going to go ahead and paste them, Command V. And we're just going to just duplicate these tracks a little bit. Since we have 4 risers, we need probably 4 different tracks so that we can kind of use them all in the same location if we want to. Might be overkill. We're just going to go ahead and start with this first one here and put this into our build up currently. Pretty loud. Bring that down in volume. All right, let's find another one here. It looks like all of these need to be brought back in volume about quite a bit. So I'll bring these back. And a nice thing to kind of do is just to go ahead and listen to each one, kind of get a vibe on what they are. Let's go ahead and just take these and zero them out for now. These are our risers. And I'll move my face up here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm down here, and this is your volume, this little blue one right here. If you click on it, you can actually go -17 and just put the number exactly in that you want. -17 instead of pulling down. And let's go ahead and just listen to each one. Interesting. Kind of cuts out at the end. I don't quite like the ending, but what we can do is use it up to a peak. And all right. And it looks like our riser might want to, looks like it comes in right here, or comes out right there. Cuts in early. And let's try this out now. Everything turned on. Nice. That added some energy right there for sure. All right. What I really liked in the sample track is their transition right there at the end. Let's go ahead and listen to that. Let's rename this instead of beat drops, because it sometimes like drops out could be a thing. Let's say big. Beat drops big. All right, so the acoustic part's after that. And this is where we're going to kind of copy the format. We're going to zero out the beat for about the same amount of time that the acoustic part happens. All right, we have nothing going on here for that section. Let's go ahead and just put some markers here so we know what we're dealing with here. So this is the acoustic part that we want to have the guitar, maybe intro, come in again. And so what's cool is that even when this is not expanded out, you can copy a whole section of a group and paste them over. So here's the build up. Recall this, I believe it's the clap. Conga in. Interesting ending. Not that dialed, but there's a build up here. It happens. Let's find out where it peaks. We're trying to put these same. Okay, so that's kind of where it comes back in. So let's build up to that. Interesting. Let's go ahead and listen to each one. Is that so? That's pretty loud. We can instantly bring that down. Cool. So our order is a little bit different than this. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this down. And I'll say order of sample. And then this one is rename our order. So we can kind of just see the differences here, that there is a build up and then there's like a lead here. is another section of a breakdown. Name to build up. Quite a bit of breakups in ours. Ending's a little bit longer. All right. So ending's a little bit longer there. I'm just going to go ahead and name this Antonio by Mariana B.O. Mariana. All right. So that's our little sample track there. We can always even bring it over here to this area and know that it matches up in that length. We can also zero that out. All right. So there we have it. Just deactivated that so we can kind of just listen in here. We have that the new breaks that we brought in here that Damien kind of liked. And then I just noticed that we have a lot of middle breaks in this area right here. Kind of why are we doing this? Right, so that's a question where we might want to kind of tighten this up and put all the breaks, make it bigger in that one section, similar to how this format is over here. That's just kind of the idea I have. So having this organization really helps out color coding, naming certain sections so that you can really have the intentionality of where you want to go with it. If you guys haven't already, please click like, subscribe, and share what we're doing. We're here every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Thank you to the Garnish Music Network for having us out again. And let's go ahead and just move some of these breaks around, see if we can kind of bring them into one location. Notice how these big build-ups and then the beat drops here. Let's go ahead and just listen to this track. We can zero it back on, activating it, and then solo it. All right. It looks like that sax part is even on both parts. So they take out some of the... So they're doing a filter sweep at the end, similar to us. Or we're doing it similar to them. All right, so that middle section, I don't think it really is going too big. Let's go ahead and see if we can put everything up into this build. So this is the one we're talking about. Bringing this back to there. And this is where we can actually start doing some interesting tricks of, let's go ahead and just listen to this one. So it's going up in pitch there. Not in this section. We're going to actually purposely take this and let's duplicate this down so that we can bring this over to right there and let this ring out as long as it can. All right. So this extra part that we're doing here, I'm going to want to change the pitch of this. So I'm down here in clip and transpose. Actually, I think the strong beat is going to be these. And we're bringing this a little bit lower. Getting a little bit of reverb. And that throw at the very end can kind of help soften it. So we don't have bass in here yet. Let's go ahead and put some bass in. Do we have any bass all? Sub 808. Let's try that one out. All right, so I have the push 2 in front of me, and I want to go, a melodic minor could work. And that sustain is actually quite long. So I'm not really liking that as much as I normally do. I'm going to go ahead and change these screens out. Your second screen has the ability to, your first screen has the ability to open up and go to these drop downs. And I'm going to show you guys that. So when you expand this out, this is all of your effects here. I'm going to go to my bass sounds here. And I believe that this one is already the way I like it. What is this called? This is just sub 808, but it's not the Justin version. So I drag and drop that in. And it should sound a little different because we're using operator now. Let's see how this sounds. All right. Now, this is going to be, if I want to play this with the track, this is where we really want to make sure that we're doing a good job with freezing tracks that we aren't working with. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Any extra tracks? We should probably freeze everything that has to do with, let's take this bass out of the drums bass all, and we will essentially freeze all of these tracks. And let's see, can I do a freeze all? I might have to do it inside as it's open. Freeze tracks. All right, so we're freezing all of the drum and bass tracks, and then we'll go ahead and freeze some more of the rhythm tracks. The reason why I want to do this is I want to change my latency, my buffer latency size from 1050 down to 128, so that when I play the push with my hand, the accuracy of me playing an actual instrument has to be very precise. It doesn't have, I can't have any latency or lag time with my finger or my ear. This is just going to help the CPU usage handle that. And you should really know freezing in and out, because once you freeze it, you can always unfreeze it, and it's instant to unfreeze. It takes it a second here just to kind of process it all to freeze it up. You can still, I think, change volumes, but you can't change any of the effects on a channel once it's frozen. You have to unfreeze it to then work on it again. But like I said, it saves you a lot of CPU usage to do this. If you're ever wondering about CPU usage, in session view, there's a little C in the bottom right-hand corner. You can turn that on, highlight it, and it will show you which tracks are taking the most CPU usage. I am noticing that my master channel already has some things on it that is taking CPU usage. You can also disengage certain things to also do that. All right. So when you go into the different views now, anything that's blued out, grayed, blued out like this, they're all frozen. Okay. So we just did quite a bit over there. And then we still have the risers. Let's go ahead now, listen to our track, and we can show, right? This is our CPU usage function right here. We're going to be listening in to what's taking up the most CPU. Looks like we have a little bit over here on the master, a little bit here on the rhythm. Slide across. Freeze tracks. So I'm going to freeze these as well. Just to really make it nice and clean when I'm playing the bass. We can always unfreeze things to work on them. I'll have one more to freeze after this, which is the rhythm section, and then probably take off all the master chain effects, which honestly, when you're working on something, you don't really need to have those on per se, because you really want it just to be sounding good, clean, and then at the end, kind of spice it up a little bit. I've actually enjoyed spicing tracks up with some master chains ahead of time and turning it on and off, just to kind of like see what it will eventually sound like. But it can kind of get sketchy, because if you ever forget that's on, it's going to give you less room. Let's say you have a limiter and compressor on and it's squashing things together. You start messing with your volumes, then it's going to change your mix. And you're going to have less to work with later on in the mastering time, because you're mixing with a mastering chain on it. I hope that helps and makes sense. As this is going, I want to tell you more about our program. Every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're here live talking about West Coast Wednesdays, which is just working on music and production, doing free tips for you guys. Our studio, Soul Graffiti Studios, hosts boutique SF Garnish music production workshops and classes. Our academy and producer program is open year round, and we have a new session starting January 1st. And we're really excited about having you guys there for our 120-hour producer program or our 360-hour academy. So check that out at sf.garnishmusicproduction.com when you can. And here we are. We have all of these frozen so we can start getting closer to our bass line. Now, when we play this track, we're looking pretty good over here with our CPU usage. And let's go ahead and change this up. So we have some effects on. Let's go ahead and turn off our master chain effects. Okay. Definitely sounds a little bit more sparse. Our Ozone 9 Elements was helping out with that. But now our CPU usage isn't being used. Under 20, that's pretty good. All right. So if I take all of these tracks here and I freeze these are the last ones, which is these are our rhythm tracks that we're just taking a little bit of CPU usage. We're trying to get as low as possible with our percentage, which is, we were up at like 65% and we went down to 19%. And I'm thinking we can get even lower. Once we do that, I'm going to change our buffer latency from 1050 down to 128 and start tracking. I'm in the key of A minor or melodic minor, A melodic minor. And what's great about the push is that you can just set your key to that. So all of your notes instantly match that. It's a really nice feature with the push 2 that Ableton has created. All right. So here we are. And let's go ahead and get into a different view. So everything that's blued out is frozen. If you're also sharing files, it's really nice to kind of freeze files for people just in case they don't have the same plugins as you. They'll hear what you're wanting to do. Here we are with our latency. Command comma is the shortcut code. And I'm going to change this down to 128 samples. 256 could also work, but I just like the least amount of latency. All right, let's go ahead and try and play along. So right away when I'm playing it, it's responding much better now. Haven't really found what I wanted. Oh, and it's looping. All right, let's take that loop off, and that was not anything I wanted. Let's take that off. So I don't think the bass needs to come in until the beat drops. So let's go ahead and find out beat buildup, and the beat drops here. So that's, I think, where I want the bass to kind of create that dynamic change. So rename, add bass. All right, all right, all right. Where are we here? Bass. I lost you. We have so many channels. There we are. So let's go ahead and just find out what this line is. And I think melodic minor doesn't quite work for the bass because I don't want that sharp 7. So I'm going to go ahead and press scale here and just go to minor, A minor. All right. So I do recall that there was something about the other song that I really liked, which was that da 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 da, and the bass line was doing that. So I think I might want to actually try that in this add bass part. All right, so we'll do something like that. Go and record and. Close enough. The cool thing about MIDI is you can really tighten it up and zoom in. This section right here, Command or Shift Tab, opens up the exact area of what you're doing. Let's call this 1 and select all these and quantize. So these are a little bit late. And some of these notes kind of did what we wanted, kind of not. Pressing 0. Boom, boom. And this is where section to develop. I think that might be another spot. Boom, boom. And I think we'll do octave lower, and I'll put my loop bracket, Command L, take off the loop and punch in. That's all I'm doing here so I don't record over anything. And something fun like that. I think there was one here like. There's that kind of the cutoff. I think it's on this channel here, A. No, we did it on our effects chain. And let's see which one happened here. So right here, this one has the Let's bring that down. And now this is one that actually, instead of having me play the notes up like this, let's go ahead and manually do something here. Okay, as we're seeing this walk up and it gets quicker and quicker, this is where the rise happens. And instead of playing it, go ahead and zero those out so they just won't play. They're grayed out now. And we're going to have in this section, ooh, did I not zero out the very top? That's true. Zero those out. So this is Ableton 11 or above. You have these different sections here. This is our automation. And we're going to go and MIDI control pitch bend. And this is where we're going to, this note will pitch up. And I actually purposely want to bring it back down to 0. Edit value, put in 0. There we go. So that later on it will stay that. Let's try that out. No, that actually didn't go too much higher. Let's see how high this can actually go. And it might not be going because we need to have more room here. That pitch bend, I thought it's working. I wanted to look. Now, there was something else that I heard in the other song, even starting from the very beginning of the song. Let's go ahead and just zero that and solo. And notice how this big hit in the beginning. Right? So what we're going to do here is just go ahead and find that really quick. I'll just bring this in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go into Splice and go into Sounds. Big house hit. Oh. Still loading. Big house hit. And we can just say just samples, which is that's what that is. Let's go ahead and listen to some of these. Hit, okay. Big drop. I like that. Let's go ahead and let's get that one going. It's an F drop. It's okay. We can change that to an A. We got to put a horse in. All right. I'm getting sidetracked here. So something that I like to do is just clicking right here and say, open in, download again. Okay, so these will all go to our download folder. I want that big kick Let's do big kick in kick form. So all of these, we can put a big reverb chorus on it. But I was thinking about maybe having something already there would be nice. Okay. Let's download that. And that's a nice attack on that one. We may even try a few of these and sparse them out. So now in my download folder, now this is a splice. So if you guys don't already know it, this is what we'll want to do. Is take the ones that we search for downloads. Let's go ahead and get these ones we were just working on. C sharp minor. Interesting. So I know it's in a different key, but we could always bring that into the key we want. And we're just downloading those sounds. All right. Where am I trying to go to now? Okay, let's get back into put these all in the spot that we were in. Okay, now going into our download folder. Splice. Sounds packs. Quite a bit here. So, Oliver. Effects miscellaneous subdrop long. There it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and come back into Ableton. Open up our folder again. Now, what I'm using Command Tab. I'm on a Mac to switch between windows here, and it's definitely helpful to just be able to move things around the way that you want, right? Get in between different files. So the last thing I'm going to do today, because we're running out of time here, is I'm going to get this drum drop. Command T. There it is. All right. So in the very beginning, I want to get this drop in. And we have something playing from over here, I believe. Instead, yeah, there we go. Why do we have this guitar going on? Oh, I see. We have this sample going. All right, so this is where the drops will be coming in. All right, so a little bit more of a drop. What I want to do is get back in and get the kicks that I really want. And let's see, which one was it? All right, so TA MK3. TA MK3. Let's try that one. TA underscore. There it is. There's a couple of different ones in here. Let's go ahead and go columns. We can try which one we like. Interesting. I got that 3 times. Okay. This might be kind of cool to actually get that other top end that goes with it. So this is where we want to actually go in and put one more channel in over here and bring in our kick. And I'll bring in one more, which is, it says 125 BPM. We're at 126, pretty close. And loop, duplicate. Take that last one out. And let's go ahead and bring in this extra kick that we just got and put that in on our ones. Duplicate. How big can it get? Looks like it's actually getting a little bit off tempo as well. These are a little bit longer. Good to know. So we want this right on the 1 each time. Once we get the 4 on the 1, now we can duplicate that section and it will match. All right, one more time. Now, this is where, I know I said that was going to be the last thing I did, but there's something about getting that bass to feel a little more real. And this is where the side chaining is really going to help out. We want that bass to duck every time that kick happens. So we're going to go ahead and just put audio effects, compressor. Audio effects compressor, put that on the bass. And open up the side area, side chain, audio from. Let's make sure we know the name of the one we're dealing with. Where did we put that one? Here it is. So TA, 39 TA MK. Okay, look for that. 39. Boom. Okay, we're side chaining 4:1 ratio. Attack and release we might change a little bit. And that last bit we will take out. And that bass line is going to be a lot different when you have this happening. Kind of thudding around. And you're not quite seeing a lot of my work I'm doing. Sorry. I'm down here in the corner working on the compression, changing my ratio, attack and release, side chaining into that kick. Just gonna go ahead and take that out for now. All right. Cool. I really like that side chaining. Obviously, house music, you got to have some type of side chain, compression, kick, and sub like that. So once again, my name is Justin with SF Garnish Music Production. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.